don't even remember our staff members, actually.
Is it bad that I forgot they were here?
Corey Friend. All day.
I'd say Corey because he's my discipler, but let's be real, he's still here.
Well, I have to say I really miss Jess because she had Josiah, and I liked when he sucked on Mike's ear.
I miss having somebody to call a hipster, so I miss George.
And then I also miss Kyle and wish that he would dress up like a girl again.
I had a lot of love for little Annie, for baby Annie.
I miss Tommy the most because we're the same person.
You know how I kind of had that act up that I was like giving up Diet Coke? Well, I actually have a secret fridge, and every time I think about Annie, I go and binge on Diet Coke. It's not really going well. Intervention would be appreciated.
I like how it would just be like very deep, and then all of a sudden it's like a pterodactyl sound.
If Zach was an animated character and had to give his voice to a Disney movie, he would be Mufasa.
It's like thunder, a magical pony, and a puppy mixed together.
My favorite thing about it is kind of how, if I had to choose how the house would sound, I would probably pick that because there would be no high-pitched squealing going on.
If he was like behind a curtain anonymously, like the Wizard of Oz, you could totally be terrified, but also in awe at the same time.
I'm just so glad he's MC for Weekly Meeting Team. Like, he really gets everybody to listen to him.
Hearing him MC is probably the highlight of my week.
He can make anything just sound better.
It's melodious. It's like listening to James Earl Jones is actually what Zach's voice is like. There's always that elusive lost and found box.
Probably a riffraff.
Corey, because when he found out that Roddy was going to be getting us up for P90X and that we need the computer, Corey got a little jealous. That when the next time he saw us at Radiate, we'd all be better at P90X than him.
I ate it. I think it's hidden in between the couch cushions. I don't know if we've checked there yet.
Elves, I guess.
Dobby from Harry Potter came and took it because he was tired of trying to collect socks.
A lot of YOLOing, that's for sure.
They start eating tubs of ice cream and sharing their feelings, and then they start to cry. And then as they cry, they hold each other and just hug each other and hold each other's hands and encourage each other. And then they start playing Britney Spears to make themselves feel better.
There's a lot of crying that goes on, a lot of ice cream being eaten.
They memorize Ezra and Esther.
They probably talk about how there are no Boazes on project, maybe.
It's got to be impressive, like a dubbing ceremony. Perhaps some dancing, some lyrical ballads, some serenading. I would assume there's a guitar in there somewhere, perhaps a ukulele if they're feeling especially festive.
They start talking about their feelings and there's crying that goes on, and they walk around the room, and like the activity is go and find somebody to share your feelings with.
A lot of pizza eating, mountain climbing, braiding of the hair, and just running around the forest with warrior paint on.
Like, we're gonna be warrior feeling sharers, but just put warrior paint on and not tell us what it means.
I don't know if some kind of warrior fights are going on. There's only one sword, so... I mean, they all come back each time, so it's not like anyone dies.
Like a Pocahontas story.
I wish more baking happened so they come home with cupcakes every time. That would be great.
Some awesome women of God just coming together and growing.
A great general sharing of feelings and emotions.
I don't think they drive anywhere because there have been no major accidents on the roadways.
Oh.
Eric cooks an entire pig into bacon, and they eat it, and then they have sword fights. The sword's got to come into play for an opening and closing ceremony.
Stuff that warrior princesses do.
You never know. Maybe they actually like do athletic things and they're lying to us.
Do you
this whole
think
time.
they?
Maybe they're front.
If there's even a sword in there, I mean, it could just be a hilt with like a Twizzler sword at the bottom.
They probably work in a very encouraging way. They work on their words of edification because these are some of the most encouraging, genuinely caring, thoughtful women I've ever met in my entire life. So, they sit down for 2.5 hours and think about ways to encourage us. The Constitution, though, was fun to sign.
I wrote a nice note to Carrie the other day.
Ooh, that's
Signed
cool.
that.
Message in a bottle. So, I'm going to take you through what Eric Layton knows of sign language. Bacon. Egg. Awkward. Alright.
Good one now.
B-I-B-L-E.
Yes, that's
Bible.
the book for me. I stand alone in
In
the Word of God, the B-I-B-L-E.
Overflowing the coffee pot.
How to push a button, because that's all McDonald's is.
Not making Margaret Flanders mad. That's the skill.
Walking without tripping, that's a skill I've yet to perfect in my lifetime.
This is not something that I'm perfecting. I didn't expect this to happen, but I'm good at distracting my coworkers from doing their job.
Portioning out millions of coleslaws per day.
I am perfecting the art, if you will, of McFlurry making.
Learn how to drop toast, regular buns, bakery buns, Angus buns, Big Mac buns, quarter buns.
I'm excited about this week because I'm not really sure what stewardship is.
Let's look it up. I have a smartphone.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't really had much experience learning about stewardship.
Stewardship to me means being as much like Martha Stewart as possible.
Watching over whatever you have and taking care of it because it's not really yours.
Recognizing that everything that you have, time, talent, and money, is all God's, and God entrusts it to you so that you can use it for His kingdom and for His glory. And so being a good steward of that means putting those things towards God's kingdom.
Making the most of your time or your skills or abilities.
Stewardship to me just kind of means like giving up of like time and patience and money, supplies, resources towards God's mission.
Dave is kind of a good example of a steward, I would say.
Dave MacArthur.
So, I think that's the most
Alright, whatever.